Um,
She's gone. Oh, no, she's not gone. She's moving out.
Daisy Salmon. Okay. How you doing? You come back there and give your name and address. That'd be great. Hi, name and address. Good afternoon.
Daisy Salmon, 81 Brower Avenue in Woodmere. Good
Woodman.
afternoon, Supervisor Clavin and the board. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. My name is Daisy Salmon. I'm 22 years old and I've lived in Woodmere my whole life. Over the years, I've seen many changes in the area and it's becoming harder to get around. I go to university upstate and every time I come home, the area is even more congested. And as a young adult here, I see that housing is available, but we need to rethink this development. It affects all of us, and we can't let it proceed as planned. We need to start over and find a better solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, young lady. We appreciate you coming down here today. Next, I'm going to call up. He might not have been here when he called before. Derek Stein. Hi, how you doing? If you give your name and address for the record, Mr. Stein.
Hi, good afternoon. Derek Stein. I'm from 256 Evergreen Avenue, Central Islip. So obviously I'm not local to this area, but, hearing through a lot of the constituents who've spoken today, I think we've had 40 plus speakers talk about the issues with this development, with the traffic and other concerns. It's all relevant. It's all important. And it's all important that that be taken into consideration. And we also do have a housing crisis as a representative of the Long Island Housing Coalition. We do have to look at that problem too. And so I think the solution here is that we have to look at this and go back to the drawing board. I think we have to move forward with housing in other parts of the community, in other parts of the town that might be more open to it, that might be more supportive of affordable housing. And the way we also do that, though, is to make sure that the currently proposed 316 unit development moves forward. It has, I believe, 20% affordable for 60% AMI. That's about $60,000. And so, for folks earning that wage, people who are just starting out as teachers, first year nurses, that is really important that they have housing available. Those are the people who will be able to move into larger houses in Lawrence Village, in Inwood, and be able to really keep the community going. They'll be the future first responders. And so our position is just that, again, we keep our eyes focused on the future. We don't disregard transit-oriented development as a whole, but we do look at it where it would be, where the community is more supportive, where there is an option for it, and where we can really get the best bang for our buck. And we've seen that in other communities in Nassau and Suffolk counties. By me, we've had Patchogue be very successful with that. We've had Farmingdale be very successful with transit-oriented development. And so there is an opportunity here, and there are examples of this being done on Long Island, right? So again, I just thank you for your time, Supervisor, as well as members of the town board, and hope that we can continue to have this discussion moving forward into the future. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Next, I have up Kevin Kelly.
Yeah,
Hi, Mr. Kelly. If you just give your name and address. Thank you.
I live at 87 Daytona Street in Atlantic Beach, New York. So even though that's not technically one of the five towns, I come through the five towns a great deal. I lease the Long Island Railroad station in Inwood probably 3 or 4 days a week in both directions. I get there by bicycle. I don't own a car because I completely agree with everybody who's spoken about how horrible the congestion is in the five towns. It's getting worse and worse. So I wrote an op-ed piece for the Herald newspapers this past week in support of transit-oriented development. Maybe some of you saw that. I hope so. I wish that people had been here earlier, was still here. Well, let me thank the board, too, for doing this and for having the patience to stick around to listen to all the constituents' opinion on this. So my own view is that transit-oriented development is essential for the well-being of not just the five towns, but all of Long Island, of the United States, and really the world. The reason why the congestion is so bad in the five towns is that there is no viable alternate transportation system. There's the Long Island Railroad, which is a very good option, but maybe not going where you want it to go. There's the buses, but the buses are caught in the same traffic as all the private vehicles are caught in. So not much of an alternative there either. I mean, the real problem here is that it can't be solved. It can't be undone. We can't roll back the clock and say we should have developed the 5 towns, all of Long Island, all of Nassau County, differently than we did. We're entirely dependent on automobiles, and it can only get worse. It can't get better as long as that's the development model we have. Transit-oriented development, the emphasis is on transit. The emphasis is on having a public transportation system that functions, that saves time, that doesn't end in frustration and anger at being trapped for 2 hours on 878. I totally get it. I wouldn't do it. That's why I have a bicycle. I don't own a car for these reasons. I get around just fine. If I could ride my bike in 10 minutes to the Inwood train station and go into the dreaded Manhattan or Brooklyn, where I read architectural and history walks on a regular basis, it's not a problem for me. It's very enjoyable. I can get a seat always. I sit back, I read, I have a very enjoyable time. My other point is that transit-oriented development is an important environmental initiative. The reason why we're so apprehensive about hurricanes, especially this coming year, is because of what's happening with the climate. A major factor in causing climate change and causing global warming is the use of private automobiles, of fossil fuels. For the sake of our children, our grandchildren, this is the point of my op-ed piece, is that we should look not just to our here and now, not just to the next month or year, but to the future generation who are going to have a very, very difficult time surviving on a planet that's being destroyed by over-reliance on fossil fuels. Transit-oriented development represents another way to go forward in a much more healthy and in a more holistic way than we're doing so far. Please consider retaining this provision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Elizabeth McGlone. Hi, how you doing? If you go to the back there and give your name and address. Thank you.
Elizabeth McGlone. I live at 144 Lord Avenue in Inwood. Inwood has been my home my entire life. For 63 years I've lived there. My parents bought their first home there in 1956, and 4 out of my 6 siblings still live in Inwood. It is a community that's always been a very close-knit community. Atlantic Beach, lovely town of single-family homes, and I don't see how the apartment building is going up on Daytona. So it's nice to live there. But everybody has really spoken very well against this, and I agree with them. So I'm not going to say everything that they've already said, but I do want to say that it's going to negatively affect the community character, our infrastructure, our public health, our quality of life, our security, our emergency services, and the traffic. I'm concerned with all of those things, but I'm also concerned with my house is in this zoning for the townhouse, row house overlay. What happens to my home? I bought my home thinking I was going to live there for the rest of my life. Is that still going to be possible? Or the other homes that are there, what happens to them? I just want to say that we're against this, really, as the community is against this. And I think we should have the say in what happens to our community, not developers from out of town. They want to come develop where they want the development. I guess that's really all I have to say. I just want to say that I'm against it, and I hope that the board will see that it shouldn't happen. If the community doesn't want it, then it shouldn't be where the community doesn't need it or want it. We have a large community, a good population. To put all that other building into it, you're going to destroy us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Jack Medcut. Afternoon, Jack. If you just give your name and address for the record.
Jack Mikett, 169 Elm Place, Levittown. Where? Levittown. Good afternoon, Supervisor Clavin, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Jack Mikett. I'm a business representative for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 25. Local 25 represents 2,000 working families here on Long Island. I was here a couple of months ago to speak against the moratorium, and now I'm here to speak against the rescission of the TODs here. These developments not only create the many needed jobs for the tradesmen and women of Long Island, it helps generate the much needed tax revenue for the town of Hempstead. These developments also address the housing shortage we have on Long Island. As we all know, housing market has become unaffordable to many of our youth and residents of the town of Hempstead. and these projects help stabilize housing prices. I mean, as many speakers before me have said, I'm concerned for my own children to be able to buy a home here one day. You know, not that long ago, whatever I bought my house 30 years ago was 100 and something thousand. Now they're going for 800, 900. It's crazy. So I hear a lot of concerns about the traffic impact. The whole premise of these transit-oriented developments is to create walkable communities to help reduce traffic. This can be done with a smart, proper plan and a secret review. I have all the confidence in you, Supervisor Clavin, and this board to make the best decision for the residents of the town of Hempstead. Thank you for your time and opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Jack. Nice to see you as always. Robin Holder? Robin Holder? Miriam Renzi? Okay. Okay. I do not have any other slips. It does not, it does not mean that we're not going to let you chat. I was going to say, anybody that didn't call your name, I'm just going to ask you one by one, come on up to the mic. You're going to give your name and address, and you have your opportunity to be heard. So we'll start, this young lady, we'll start with her, and then we'll get everybody in, okay? How you doing? Your name and address, please.
Miss Uniondale, Uniondale.
Okay.
Oh, let's lighten the mood up. We got bigger problems than this. Did anybody see that debate? Okay, I just wanted to lighten the mood. It didn't go over so well. Anyway, we got to lighten up the mood. It's good to see you all, Supervisor Clavin, and to the rest of the board. Again, my name is Miss Uniondale, and I do not want to forget to thank your helpline people, Chrissy, Jessica, and the rest of them that's there. But you have a wonderful helpline, and they're listening. And if I don't mention them, they're going to have my head. But they do a wonderful job. When I don't get to speak to you, they take my calls. It's special shout out to Chrissy and to Jessica. They do a wonderful, wonderful job. And I'd also like to say that your building departments and all of those big heads and wigs, one is over here, Lipinski, Danny, they do a wonderful job. But I think that there more needs to be done. The quality of...
Are you talking about this application, or you just want a kind of general topic?
What application?
We're still taking. We're doing a hearing. Don't you go, Miss Uniondale. You could stick around. We'll get you later on. I promise. All right. We're still talking about the hearing right now. Yes, ma'am. I'll have you start. Okay. Your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Trudy Stern. My address is 480 Ocean Avenue in Lawrence. I just want to make the observation that almost every single person that's a resident of the area affected is opposed to it. And the people that were in favor are people that are either connected to the developer or I'm not sure why they were here at all. I'm an attorney and I took the day off from work to be here to actually speak about something that affects my family and my world. So I just want to say that I've lived in Lawrence since 1985, and this development affects me in many, many ways, as does many of the people here that voiced objection to it. I want to first read from your own materials that you sent out regarding rescission of this zoning, and it was from the engineers that you had hired, Nelson, Pope, and Voorhees, and this is their finding on what they said about this particular zoning. That the NB zoning overlay district and the TR zoning overlay district could have significant impacts on, among other things, community character, quality of life, public infrastructure, police, fire, and other emergency services, traffic, and special districts, and therefore represents a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. Regardless of what anybody thinks in this room, whether or not it's positive or negative, that's pretty telling. This is a threat to public health, safety, and welfare. And based on that, this should definitely be rescinded with absolutely no exclusions. You can't have something built and grandfather in inherently dangerous and awful situations. So this should be rescinded and there should be no exclusions. And I would like to submit this for the record.
Absolutely, Ms. Stern. We'll make it part of the record. Absolutely.
And final, I just want to say that the drain on infrastructure would be tremendous. It's tremendous now. There's always a risk of blackouts with any storms, flooding on the streets with ordinary storms. So the sewage is overflowing. First responders can't get through. Traffic is horrific. The parking is horrific. So to add to that infrastructure, even without an engineer saying how inherently bad it would be for the community and dangerous, I find it unbelievable that this board would even consider allowing this development to go through. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stern. We will make that part of the record, so thank you very much. I know the young lady, right there, ma'am? Yes. How you doing? If you give your name and address.
Good morning.
Oh, your afternoon now. Don't jump it there, you know.
I actually wrote good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Esther Minsky Salmon. I reside at 81 Brower Avenue in Woodmere, New York. I grew up here, and I've seen a big change. Good afternoon, Supervisor Clavin, Mrs. Miller, and to the board, and to the people that came out today. Thank you for listening to us. We want you to please rescind all the zoning and all grandfather projects. I didn't plan on speaking, but I feel I need to correct a few wrong statements that were made. There is a truth that there is one hospital in Parkway, which is St. John's, but there was another hospital, Peninsula Hospital, which was privately funded, and when the donor died, so did the hospital. So it wasn't that it was a horrible hospital or what that other gentleman said. He should go back to Levittown. If the developers really cared about this part and really want to give jobs, they could maybe decide to build a hospital in the area or around the 5 towns. And I'll explain to you later why. Yes, our area has always had traffic, and that's why 878 was built, and we are still waiting for it to be finished, which we know is the governor. She needs to approve it. As stated earlier, an emergency route, it is awful if you need help in general, but during the storm, even worse. On another note, I had a stroke last year, and I was taken to St. John's Hospital because it was too far to go to Mount Sinai, which was formerly South Nassau. The area is becoming unsafe, and we are very, very, very dealing with a dangerous situation in the face of an emergency, and we are the designated emergency route, which is very important to remember. The gentleman from Atlantic Beach, you come through us if you don't go the other way, if you can't go through the beachways. Has the town of Hempstead tested our evacuation route? Did you check it? Another point is that what this gentleman said. The other point is that the TOD structures doesn't have parking for all the cars that are going to come. Okay, so you're saying they're coming for transit, but we know that every family will at least have one car, or almost every family. The first report was inaccurate. The second report stated that it was inaccurate. We are here today to ask you to rescind everything from the grandfather clause till number 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. If you give your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor, Town of Board. My name is Joe Scatrini. I am the business agent for Plumbers Local 200. I represent 1,100 hardworking members and their families. I reside at 147 Bishop Lane, Holbrook, New York. Redevelopment of this property creates good-paying jobs along with medical insurance and pensions for our members. In essence, these projects create hundreds of jobs for the middle class, which are sorely needed here in Nassau County. We have approximately 100 members that live here in Hempstead. As you know, the middle class is the engine that keeps America going. Plymouth Local 200 is in favor of this mixed-use development in North Lawrence and Inwood for a transit-oriented development because the younger generation, seniors and vets need affordable housing. I'm not going to repeat on what my fellow building trades organizers and business agents already spoke about, but we're in favor of Plymouth Local 200.
Thank you very much. Any other speakers on item number 4? Yes, if you give your name and address, thank you.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. Quick question from actually the Long Islanders Against Overdevelopment. I had received a few text messages, and the question they had is, what can you define low rent or controlled rent? Is that something that it sounds appealing to some people, but is that permanent with the building? Or is that temporary? What would that be in this particular development?
Steve, can you respond to that?
I think the simple answer, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, would be that that would have to be analyzed and then considered on a case-by-case basis with respect to any potential development that would come forward before the town, not just in this district, but in any district. And we would have to see what a developer would propose and then how that proposal would relate to the provisions and the requirements of the town code.
Okay.
I do know, for instance, there was affordable housing built in Inwood, and they made a statement at the ribbon cutting that it was permanent. It would not change over time. I think that there are people that are concerned that that will be an appeal for the approval of such a project. But I think it's very important to understand if this is permanent affordable housing, how much that comes out to in rent, or if it's just a temporary offer and this lasts 6 months, a year, or whatever the case may be. So I think that is very important for the board to consider. Thank you.
I do not have any other speakers. Is anybody who has not been heard that wishes to be heard on item number 4? Can't come back. No. If you would like any of the reports, feel free to send a communication to the town of Hempstead. If need be, a town attorney is always able to assist in providing documentations with a proper request. If in fact, aside from having your world famous meatballs, if you give your, you stick around for a couple, my chief of staff is not only going to go back there and reminisce with you, he's going to grab your contact information. All right. Listen, I'll leave it alone. With that, I'm going to now ask if there is a motion to be made.
Yeah, I move that this public hearing be closed and the board reserve decision.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm sorry, Ms. Miller. I think based upon your prior comments, the motion should be that the public hearing be held open for 30 days for written requests.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I move the public hearing be held open for 30 days and we will reserve decision.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yes.
Okay, I thank everybody who came out. It's good to see a lot of people. And like I said, the window of opportunity to be further heard by any residents who couldn't get here today will remain open for another 30 days to communicate. Thank you all very, very much for coming out. And with that, I will ask that we call the next item on the calendar.
On the public hearings calendar, we have a resolution adopting a SEQA negative declaration and determination of non-significance in connection with an application of a special exception for a parcel of land located in Uniondale.
Okay, I thought I saw I had a speaker on this item. Monica Kiley? Okay. I don't have any other slips. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this item on the calendar? Okay. If you please come up and give your name and address, that would be wonderful.
Not gonna happen. Mita J. Mariday, resident of the town of Hempstead. Just need to get some clarification with regard to this overall property? I know there were some residents that had some concerns if this was, you know, whenever they hear Secra and Uniondale, everything, the conversation comes up about the casino, but I just want to get some information with regard to the decision on this particular property, if someone can speak to that. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. It used to, from what I understand, it used to be a gas station. And at a gas station, you make repairs. In this case, they're requesting the special exemption to change it from a gas station to just a repair shop. That's the only change.
Okay, so have they removed the tanks from the former gas station?
I can't speak as to whether they've actually been removed, but if in fact this special exception is granted by the town board, if they haven't removed them, they would have to remove them.
And is that a way that could possibly be put on the record, just in case for any type of environmental concerns? Living in an area where you have enough sinkholes and stinkholes, to know that people live near a facility, whether it becomes a repair shop and it still has gas tanks, that can cause a problem if they should in fact collapse?
I don't think it's a requirement of the resolution, but Ms. Meriday, if you wait around, and I know you always do, and you give me your number, I'll follow up on it, up with you by the end of the day to let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to be heard on this item? If not, may I please have a motion?
I second the motion.
So the deputy supervisor moved item number 6, and it was seconded by Councilman Dunn.
Thank you. Supervisor Clavin?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby? Councilwoman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye. Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the first under the decision calendar, number 7.
Yes, on the decision calendar, we have a companion, the two items together. It's an application of Front Street Mufflers, Tires, and Auto Repair Incorporated for a special exception change of use from a gasoline station to an auto repair public garage and to maintain the current use as an auto repair. This is in Uniondale. And also a resolution accepting declaration of restrictive covenants in connection with the application of Front Street Mufflers, Tires, and Auto Repair Incorporated for a special exception, change of use from a gasoline station to an auto repair public garage, and to maintain the current use as an auto repair. Again, that's in Uniondale.
Okay, can I have a motion on item 7 and companion number 8 on the decision calendar?
I second them both.
Supervisor Clavin. Did anybody speak?
Big Dennis
Oh,
seconded.
yeah, this
Yep.
is decision, excuse me. Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
Yes, on the administrative calendar, we have items 9 through 34.
Any member of the board wish to hear the administrative calendar? I have one slip in the administrative calendar. I have Janice Whalen. Hi, if you just come up to the mic there and give your name and address, Ms. Whalen, thank you.
The attorney for the applicant. My office is 23 Green Street, Huntington, New York. I'm appearing before the board only if you have any questions. The only reason we came back is because we closed a curb cut on Uniondale Avenue, so we tried to make the application better.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Whalen.
Thank you.
All right, I do not have any slips on the administrative calendar. Does anybody wish to be heard in the administrative calendar? Sure, if you go to the back there and give your name and address, that'd be great.
Diane Madden, item number 29, the positions at the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. I just wanted to mention that one of the employees at the animal shelter, Jen Nicholas, who is absolutely remarkable, outstanding. She is the one that's responsible for bringing in cat rescue groups that were never willing to rescue from Town of Hempstead. She has done the most incredible job supporting the medical team, which is short-staffed. She cannot exist, as most people in their 30s, on bare minimum income. I know that Supervisor Clavin, you were willing to put her resume through based on her merit. There were conversations I had with the commissioner, who I believe was trying to advance Jen. I'm asking at this time, before she does resign, because I do believe I've heard it from a number of people that she'll be leaving the animal shelter. sadly, when that happens, sometimes rescue organizations leave with that person to rescue from where because they develop a relationship that's trusted. So I really wouldn't want to see that happen. I can't imagine anyone would, especially in the thick of kitten season right now, which Jen is there 7 days a week, not present there, working from home and saving these lives. Again, Jen Nicholas, I ask you at this time, Supervisor Clavin, to follow through and give her full-time position so that she doesn't have to work another job and compromise that job to the point where she will have to leave the shelter soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? Okay, if you give your name and address, thank you.
Meta J. Maraday, number 18, 23, 26.
Danny, that's going to be you, maybe? Or my engineering commissioner? I see him too.
While they're coming, I want to make sure that I always recognize your public safety representatives. And again, as a 9/11 first responder, I'm always about the safety of the public and those who take the time, often at the loss of income or whatever, to come and speak to represent their interest in their taxes, facilities. They also do a great job. So I want to recognize them as well.
You're going to do 20.
Good afternoon, Brian Kunzik, Commissioner of Engineering. What's your question with item 18?
Okay, so we're removing the existing.
It's an outfall pipe. It's for the drainage network.
Okay, and where exactly is this outfall pipe? And
It runs through a bulkhead at that address on the resolution.
okay,
So if the homeowner redoes their bulkhead, we pay the contractor to offset the cost for the care of the pipe.
okay, and because we're having such an increase of sinkholes and stinkholes in the Baldwin, Oceanside, et cetera, residents are definitely concerned about any type of work that involves their piping issues. So again, what is being done to reinforce or at least to check on what's happening before somebody, or heaven forbid, loved one kind of falls
There's nothing at fault with the pipe itself right now. They're redoing their bulkhead.
Okay.
And we just have an easement with our drainage network running through that. So we just pay the contractor to replace the pipe as he's working on the bulkhead.
Okay. And the contractor has done work previously in the past, so
We have an inspector go out once the work is completed to make sure everything was done appropriately.
Okay, and is that contractor a service-disabled veteran, minority? Or
They're procured by the actual resident. We don't have any
they procure that resident. So, okay, cool. Thank you. Item 23.
Dan Leo, Acting Commissioner, Building Department.
Again, with regard to this particular property, it seems like Uniondale, similar to Baldwin, with the increasing number of service repairs and used cars that we get on our Grand Street without having any other type of business. I'm just concerned again about this type of, gasoline storage tanks at 510. What is the safety measures there?
You have to go through the Department of DPW,
Mm-hmm.
and it will be monitored to make sure that they're done safely. And as you know, with a lot of these tanks that go in, they're new fiberglass double wall tanks to avoid any leaks or to avoid any contamination into the soil.
Okay, but are these types of storage tank facilities being developed or set up in other locations aside from maybe a Uniondale or Baldwin or Roosevelt?
They're throughout the town.
I'd love to get a list of where these other locations are.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Very briefly, Mr. Leo, these tanks were approved many years ago. This gas station's been there for 70 years. This application is only for a convenience store and cabins. So the tanks were approved years ago.
No, but to address our question as far as the safety of the tanks, they're double walled. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
And Ms. Maraday, I'd be happy to give you the list.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, item 26. And whoever has to speak to that issue, I was just curious as to what is the process to review who provides these policies, and if there's any type of annual review of these policies to see if we can have any cost-saving measures or expansion in terms of changes in policy overall on a state and or federal level.
Well, we have a deputy town attorney who monitors these insurance policies on a yearly basis. Quite frankly, on probably a monthly basis, because town's a big place, and we have a lot of issues that occur. This is for fire and property damage. And I'm happy to report that over the last couple of years, the amount of money that it costs us to renew the policies has not increased that much. In fact, it's only increased about $50,000 over last year. And if you remember, Ms. Mariday, I believe it was Baldwin, but somebody will correct me. We had a fire at one of our parks. So it's very important that we make sure, in most instances, the town is self-insured. But in a lot of areas, we try to get policies that cover us, and this is a very important one. And it was money well spent in 2023, and I suspect that it'll be money well spent in 2024 through 25.
Okay, yes, sir. I appreciate the fact that you're being, aggressive with regard to saving money. I'm just concerned, again, as residents, again, from Inwood and other locations speak about flooding. What are we doing in terms of working together with the county to mitigate circumstances that cause flooding as we're getting into an early hurricane season, and it's going to be a prolific one?
But is that on the administrative calendar?
No, but it's flood insurance. So
Well, he answered the question on the insurance. He answered the question on the insurance.
Yes, but I wanted to ask about with regard to the flood insurance, what are we doing as far as prevention is my question.
Okay, all right. Anybody else wish to be heard that didn't sign in? Okay, can I get Ms. Mariday, please? You've had the 3 minutes. May I please have it? Ms. Mariday, again, may I please have a motion on the administrative calendar?
Second motion.
Okay.
Supervisor Clavin,
Aye.
Councilman Carini,
Yeah, aye.
Councilman Dunn,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin,
Aye.
Councilman Carini,
Aye.
Councilman Dunn,
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay, now that the formal portion of the program is over, the town board will remain to listen to the comments of residents. I don't see a lot of, Ms. Uniondale? Okay. Let's see. Diane Madden? Yes, ma'am. We'll get to you. You come up next. Okay, no worries. I'll give you a helping hand in a minute. Your name and address, thank you.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. No one knows about it, but I'm sure by now they may. There was a dog that was left on the Southern State Parkway, picked up and brought to the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter with a note. And I believe, according to the foils I'm reading, that you have a brewing problem at the animal shelter in addition to all else. And that is the fact that intake, basically you're operating like a private shelter because intake is what we call cherry picking. And that is just determining which dogs you want to bring in when it comes to owner surrenders. And that is a very, very dangerous policy. And I do believe we're going to see, and we're already seeing it, most dogs are brought in by police, which I think they have very, very important work to do than to be doing the work of animal control officers during the day, and also animal control. So I hope that you'll look into that, and I believe the commissioner was doing that. I'll look forward to following up. With regards to the privatization, I'm going to say again that it's very rare that you'll have an entity that will approach the town in its financial prediction right now, which I believe is negative. And these people are willing to come to the table with money, with resources, veterinarians. I'm not quite sure where that stands right now, but I do believe that the town should be moving forward with reviewing this privatization. I hope that every board member has taken a look at what they have submitted to the town. Quite honestly, I've gotten compliments from people saying, that's great, you advocate for animals, you advocate for dogs, but our town board needs to be comprised of people that advocate for whatever it is, and particularly, I believe it's the animals in this case. I know that you care very much for your own animals. I just ask you to take that same empathy and move it towards the animal shelter. Hire people on merit. Jen, again, is an outstanding worker. It will be a tremendous loss. I am telling you right now, and I try to warn you the best I can, that the numbers for euthanasia will go up if she resigns from that position. That's how many lives she's saving through her contacts. In addition to that, I want to remark that the cages right now, you have 50% vacant cages. That is not because there are progressive programs. That is because the taxpayers are basically not getting their services in this economy, in the darkest hour. Doesn't matter who you want to blame. I believe that the governor is partly to blame, maybe mostly to blame. But regardless, people are struggling. Numbers of homeless people are increasing. Let's not see dogs tied up to poles and blame the public. Be proactive about it and provide resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ma'am, why don't you come up to you right there? You're a newbie. Come on up to the mic there, give your name and address. There's a public comment there. Okay.
Good afternoon. My
Good
name
afternoon.
is Leslie Tischler, and I live at 65 Parkview Place in Baldwin. Been there for many decades. Thank you very much, Supervisor Clavin and Board. I'm coming with a problem that the town suggested I stop by and discuss with you. Apparently, my next door neighbor put up a special kind of window that melted my vinyl siding. And I contacted the town, and they said there is no current requirement for a permit. It's a special kind of window. It's heat deflecting. And I contacted my insurance company, and I contacted a vinyl siding contractor, and they both agreed that that's what it was. I wasn't sure myself. I asked them, and that's what they found. I'm asking that the town institute a policy where any installation of heat deflecting windows be subject to a permitting policy. That's it.
All right. What I'm going to ask you to do is Danny Leo. Right. Oh, he's back there already. Danny's already on top. He's going to take your information and do a little follow-up with you. All right? I appreciate the heads up on this one. All right?
I have copies of photographs of it. Should I?
Great. I tell you, that's the acting commissioner right there. Okay? Thank you very much. Ms. Meriday, did you want to go? All right.
Okay, as I stand here again, maybe I can talk to the county attorney after to get the answer to my question with regard to flood mitigation scenarios and working together with the county, because this is a bad season that's coming up, and we need to really be more proactive about it if at all possible. And again, the discussions earlier today with regard to the concerns for residents about changes that will impact their community. In Inwood, again, I stand to speak and hope that residents that may be listening or may connect with other residents, that we really need to stand and speak in unison with regard to those same issues magnified almost 50-fold with regard to this casino project as it currently is in plan for. It's not a done deal, as many people may have assumed it was. And residents still have an opportunity to speak, considering those of us who had to suffer the misfortune of the cricket match that I'm hearing, that the cost in terms of the overtime and the struggles that residents, including many of us that live in Baldwin and Hempstead, having difficulty, as people said, getting to a hospital, the delays getting residents potentially to the medical center and getting around that area will be, again, 50-fold with regard to that construction project that will impact us all, as we may feel that our little hamlet and little neck of the wood is most important aside from the overall scenario. My concerns also with regard to the ongoing lack of diversity in our contracting and in our procurement. I have yet to see a report that outlines, and still waiting for the county's disparity study, which is mandated by the state to address their minority and women business focus or lack of, because I think that's probably what the delay is. But I've yet to see any report from this township that speaks to any type of inclusion perspective when I'm looking at the news and they're basically trying to discount the work and efforts for those that are trying to provide opportunities, particularly for women of color. And don't get it twisted. You may think that just because an organization like the Fearless Fund may be losing in the appeals court, the battle is not over. And once one group is knocked down, they're going to be next coming for you. So it's important that we as residents and taxpayers, where we pay the second highest property taxes in the country, look at what we need to do a little better, a little more strategically, and I would think a little more friendlier. So lawsuits abound, and we pay enough in lawsuits. Let's try to get it right the first time, and let's work together. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard? Sure, we'll go one at a time there. Sir, if you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ray Aurora, 3712 Terrapin Place in Seaford. Mr. Supervisor, last time I came, I think it was the last meeting or maybe the one before, I raised a question about my street, and you in fact wrote down my street name and I think passed it on to Councilman Carini. I just want to say thank you because after that, David Taub and I think Marcy Williams both reached out to me, and they've done a terrific job in terms of communication and arranging for, I guess it's the Department of Highways and the sewer agency to come out and take a look at the street. The work ends up being a little bit more involved than I thought. I thought it was just a repaving job, but my neighbors, who are all engineers, not really, and the town decided that maybe that's a bigger project, and I think that it's going to start. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank this board and you, Supervisor, for defending us from some of the insanity that's coming out of Albany and Washington these days. And all of that I say because I can see how town government can be very efficient when they want to be. And so I'd like to echo the words of my friend, Diane Madden, and I urge this board and you, Supervisor, to do everything you can to fix the situation at the animal shelter. I also want to use my remaining time to just mention something that I saw in the news last week having to do with the water situation in the village of Hempstead. And, being from Seaford, I obviously don't live in Hempstead, but in the village. But it's a great concern that once again, we're seeing a situation where we have dirty, polluted water that's going to kill people. And I know this is a county issue and it's a village issue, but, I say this respectfully, but you all know each other. And I think that you should use your office to advocate for the people in the village. They're looking for like 1.6 million to get this going. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the county received something like 300 million from the CARES Act and is spending like 12 and a half on some stupid commercial for the Gold Coast Book Fair. And he's a friend, or he was a friend, but it doesn't make any sense that we're spending money in the way that we are. And once again, you're seeing a marginalized community, and I never use those words, but marginalized community not getting the attention they need as it relates to the safe drinking water. So thank you again, and I urge you to use your office for both those two issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Name and address for the record.
Valerie Heffron, Greenville, South Carolina, Animal Advocates. I'm here because we are on the verge of just doing things over and over again and yielding no different results, the definition of insanity. And I want to make the case also for privatization for the animal shelter. What's happening right now is yet another travesty, which was preventable and could have been avoided on behalf of the 4 dogs that were shipped off to Florida and using taxpayer monies to do so. It's not the first time. I've been advocating now for multiple administrations. Supervisor Clavin, you know me. We may not see eye to eye all the time, but I am a true animal lover and I am all about the animals. No one here can deny that. Councilman Muscarella, I also want to thank you for our respectful rapport, and I appreciate your compliment on my intel, because we spend hours, countless hours, and we do it for free. We pointed the dangers of this resolution that was passed last August here. We jumped up and down. We said, this is a problem. You can't just solicit rescues and other organizations and offer to pay them to take animals off your hands, what happens is what's happening right now. You attract the most unscrupulous of people with horrific reputations, and with a simple Google search, if anyone had done that, they would have found Wendy Nassif, the owner of Baloo, a 2-year-old dog that died in 11 days in their board and train, who dropped 31 pounds in 11 days. I'd like that diet. But what I'm trying to say is that this is not the first time. It happened with Road to Home Utica in New York, shut down for animal cruelty and neglect. It happened in Virginia. I'm thankful, town attorney, that you're telling me that you're making these legal efforts to retrieve those dogs. However, what I really would like to know is, are you also going to ask for a refund for the taxpayer money that Hempstead spent for these menaces to society to take your dogs?
Well, Ms. Heffron, this is the public comment section.
I've seen him comment just last week in response to a question.
Okay, Ms. Heffron, you've been here for a long time. We're here to listen to the residents, so we're enjoying listening to you.
Look, we've been down this road many times, several directors. Right now, your acting director is liking and supporting the comments of the very rescue that you're looking to sue. How does that make sense? This shelter has been a black eye on America's largest township since I can recall. It's time to hand over the reins and privatize it.
Okay. Anybody else wish to be heard? If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Tate Simmons, Point Lookout. So there are a few things that need to be addressed today. Obviously, I'm not an unfamiliar face to you guys. It's been 412 days since my cat Spirit became a victim of the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter and was murdered on your turf. 412 days since Spirit was killed, and not a single lost cat has been posted on the social pages. A designated lost and found coordinator has still not been hired, and there has been no progress with having an on-site vet hired either. You guys in front of me have failed. Is there anyone here from the shelter today? Any staff from the shelter, like present here? Ashley, any board, anyone who's in that shelter?
Ms. Simmons, as you know, this is the public.
That's fine, but that's a disgrace. If we're going to look at this animal shelter like a business, someone should be here who's in that shelter every day. Just going to leave that there. Over $6 million
just so you know,
shelter.
Ms. Simmons, and I'll interrupt you on this one.
Yeah.
There has been.
I've been here at majority of them. You know what happened to me was wrong, Mr. Clavin, and no one has come forward. So that's a shame. But
did you file litigation against the town of Hempstead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did, and we're still waiting to hear back.
Okay.
The fact that I continue to be ignored via email, only one that's reached out to me was Laura Ryder, who encouraged me to keep going, and I explained to her the things that were going wrong in the shelter. Still no updates. As a over $6 million shelter, how do we not have a working lost and found program? You're telling me no cats have gone through the doors since my cat died last April 16th? That's unheard of. We are failing as a board, and I'm going to say we, because I'm here in front of you. I took off. I'm a 26-year-old. I work in one of the world's largest marketing agencies. I do brand consulting for a living. I'm training for the New York Marathon. I'm planning on going to law school. I don't have time to sit here with you guys. I want it fixed for good, not for fun. I'm here because it needs to be fixed, period. I lean on you guys to make these changes, and no one's doing anything. Now, if anyone has Ashley's number, I would love a phone call, because, Mr. Clavin, you paid a visit to that shelter, but what I'm asking for has still not been addressed. And I'm a victim. I'm not here for fun. I'm here because I was affected. My animal was murdered by your shelter. He went to a vet. I appreciate the vet, the ties that you guys cut, but the 50% other part of that is that he shouldn't even have gone to that vet. There was no process in place. I can't tell people that adopt kittens from me because I do it out of the goodness of my heart. Okay, well, if you lose your animal, go to town of Hempstead, because it's not true. There's not a process there. I'm just asking for a simple fix. Get a lost and found person in there. Get these cats on the social media pages. It doesn't need to be a PR stunt. Let's just make this shelter an effective place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, your name and address, please. Thank you.
Marsha D. Thierry, Merrick, New York. It was wonderful to see all those residents of Lawrence here today advocating for their community. I know I know people in the town of Hempstead and in my community in Merrick feel the same way regarding tree preservation. Unfortunately, they do it in writing instead of physically coming here. So I'm asking once again to please put tree preservation on your calendar. Each day I see postings that people are removing all of the healthy trees on the property, as well as wildlife looking for people instead of natural resources for subsistence due to their destruction. Posts and articles with pictures of baby squirrels, opossums, raccoons coming out during the day more frequently, not because they're sick, as some people think, but looking for food for their babies as we continue to destroy their food and source of shelter. North Hempstead just upgraded their tree preservation laws. Does the town of Hempstead have anything in the works? Maybe an ordinance that stops removal of mature oak trees that in fact provides more benefits to wildlife and people than any other tree on the island? Any tree planting programs in the works? Is the town working with businesses, giving them opportunities to make the environment healthier by providing them with native trees? Have you noticed how hot it's been? More watering, less shade, more people staying inside instead of enjoying nature. Please make this township a more eco-friendly and resident-friendly township by protecting things that cannot protect themselves, namely nature. Something else that cannot speak or protect for themselves are the animals, namely the shelter animals. The TNR program is at full capacity with more than 100 cats and kittens and countless dogs. Is anything being done to promote Genevieve, as you know her, and make her full-time instead of part-time? She has to work a full-time job currently to get benefits, and she provides so many things for the shelter. She has compassion, knowledge, dedication, and resources with reputable rescues, fosters, and adopters, yet she is not promoted and made full-time. Is there anything in the works with that? Ashley can advocate for her. I know she said she's asked to make her full-time many times. This would expedite more animals going into reputable rescues, getting animals back from rescues with known abuse violations, get them out of the shelters and into places where they can thrive. Please, don't they deserve happiness? Get the staff out that don't like animals and put animal advocates into those spots. A happy worker is a productive worker, please.
Thanks, Mr. Thierry. Anybody else wish we heard that hasn't been? Then I wish everybody a happy safe 4th of July.